So what's up guys, Romer here, back again in this new video. So I just finished setting up my hacking lab environment, and as you noticed from my post on my social media, I posted a picture of this lab and I was actually using Firepower initially, and I just transitioned to PFsense. The main reason for that is the evaluation licenses of the Firepower is not enough for this kind of lab environment. So I just basically missed a lot of stuffs that I was not able to do if I have a Firepower management center here and literally capable of doing some stuffs with the IPS with here. So I'm just gonna put it aside here, and I transition into PFsense, and I kind of loving this firewall right now because of course, first of all, it's an open source firewall, and right now everything I've done here is free, and I don't literally do any kind of registration. I just basically download and installed it, and I've also installed Suricata. So this is gonna be our IPS for this setup, and I've also enabled NAT rules for our web service. This is running here, and basically port forwarding it on our public IP address. So of course this is just an acting as a public IP address. 192.168.8.0 is actually my NATed network on my virtual environment, and this is basically inside the firewall. So this is going to be the private IP address, and also my Kali machine is going to be part of this subnet. So basically imitating the public IP addresses, and also along with those NAT, together with those NAT is you also have to configure also a firewall rule that allow traffic to the web server itself. So the main objective of this lab actually is not just trying to understand how to do a penetration testing or vulnerability assessment, but actually also trying to bridge the gap between knowing and understanding. So this is basically I think one of the best thing to do when you're trying to transition into in the field of information security or cybersecurity, you may in this case, because you will always learn new stuffs, and some people will say it's enough that you only know this kind of technology, like the base of it, but I guess there's a big difference between knowing and understanding. So this is the purpose of my lab, is basically transitioning everything that I know into something that I would understand, like how this literally works and how can I make it work. Just a little bit of background before we start the penetration testing. I am a network security engineer, and my main domain of my job is actually implementation of different security products such as firewalls, network access controls, of course routers and switches, and that's pretty much just the brief just a summary of what I do. So right now I'm also transitioning my career also to having a understanding of the offensive side of the security also. So yeah, that's why in this lab I don't just literally expose this web server to the attacker, or in this case us. We basically also implement a firewall behind this, and an IPS also. So basically we are trying to evade this firewall in order to get root privileges first on this web server, and then for another video we're going to be doing some pivoting and taking over of the domain controller here. This is actually the domain controller, and I'm actually managing the firewall inside the domain controller here. So I'm just going to show you. This is actually our domain controller, and yeah, everything is set up here already for the privilege escalation, but I'm having a problem with the initial access here in the domain controller, because I wanted it to be kind of creative, not just some kind of another ASREP roasting or Kerber roasting stuffs, which is pretty common for a lab Active Directory environment. So without further ado, let's start with the penetration testing. So we are given only an IP address, which is this one. Oh, sorry about that. That's our notes for later. So I've already done this before, and it actually took me this whole day to just bypass that firewall. So anyway, so we are given this IP address. So normally we would start checking if it's pingable. So right now we are sure that we have access to the service. So if I'm going to do this, I'm just like from time to time I'll check if I lost access, because probably I have triggered some kind of IPS rule that will block me to this to this IP address. So first we need to find services that running on this host. So you can run your nmap scan here, but knowing that this is a black box test, you might want to like limit or control our scan here. So in this case, we need to find like common ports that we usually run on public services. I would say it would be, of course, 80.443. Some will run 22. This will be a honeypot, and then let's say 8080, and I will do my nmap to be staged, like just doing this port first, just doing this 443 first, this 22 first, to like at least limit our noise in the in the firewall. So, I'm assuming there's a firewall here. If I will be the penetration tester, because this is a public IP address, so I will not assume that this is directly a host or a web server. So we don't want to get blocked. So of course I will show you how to get away with IP blacklist. So we're looking at the port 80 for now, nmap-ss. So I'm gonna add these flags here, and then just port 80 first. So this is gonna be run for sudo, if I can type correctly. So while this is doing, I'm just want to make sure that, so right here we see that there's a service running on the port 80, which is Apache version with also a version of 2.4. So from here we already know that this is a Linux machine, Unix machine, and let's just see if we are still able to ping. So right now we don't have access here. So if we go to Firefox, if we try to access the web services, 8.20, so we should be able to access it, but unfortunately I believe we are already blocked because we do some kind of scan. But right now we have an idea that port 80 is open. So what we can do here is we can actually just wait if there is some kind of like period of time that they will automatically remove the list on the block. So another thing to do is just change our IP address. So if you're doing this on a public scenario, you will usually use a VPN. So it will give you a different IP address, and then just try another VPN, or if you can also use Tor. So right now we're gonna imitate that kind of scenario. So let's just say I will be using a different kind of VPN connection, but in this case I will just change my IP address to 1 and just refresh that. So see, so right, so we can confirm now that we have a we have a blacklisting in case we do some kind of an nmap scan. But so we have to be very careful about that now. So you can stop this ping for now, and since we know that port 80 is running, we can just actually curl it. So we have a web page here, and right now we have access to it. So if you refresh this one, and we get a page, so we are now directed to our networks. So just a default web page. We are a leading cybersecurity company that will provide you with a state-of-the-art security solutions. Scrolling down, checking for information. This is what you'd normally do. This is so gathering informations right from their homepage of the company. So normally you would get here an email address. So usually it's just like info@ournetworks.com, but in this case they actually use some kind of an email that would be valid. So I'm just gonna take note of that for a while, and this could be useful for later. So found user via landing page. And also ports open. So right now we have actually port 80. So I'm not gonna get actually we can create also a copy of like proper notes taking, but kind of lazy right now, so just gonna use my Sublime Text here. So what we can do here is we can actually run FUF here. So I've already tried it, so I would just limit this request to like the thread to 5. So since we all know that there's a firewall here, so making a lot of noise would actually or might blacklist again us, or we can just change our IP address, but we cannot, like, we can just try to lessen our noise here for a meantime. And while doing that, so we have already here uploads folder and assets. We can actually navigate here to checking for links. So you can actually see for the bottom it will the redirection. So here, intro, who we are, get in touch, and this is something interesting, submit your CV, and you see we are being directed to a page which is an upload.php. So if you click that, so we can actually upload the file here. So right now I want to stop here because I don't want to keep generating much noise. And we also notice that there's an upload folder here that we can also navigate here before further inspecting this upload.php. So I guess we are now blocked again, and we can verify it here if we can ping now. So we cannot ping now. So let's just change our IP address again. So right now I'm 151. I'm just gonna be 152 for now. So let's just say I'm connecting to a different VPN connection now. I'm gonna bounce the port. So it's not working. 8.20. Okay, now that's a bad sign. Let's see if we can actually edit this one to be something far from that. 200. Close, and no, not closing those stops. So yeah, so right now we are so if we if config, so we are now, let's just take notes of our IP addresses now. IP add use, so we're not gonna be using it back and forth. So let's just check this upload page. So right now there is nothing here. So now this kind of gave us an idea that if we upload a file here, we might able to access it here. So the test is just let's say echo hello to test.txt, and let's upload that test.txt. So we can actually also run burp here to make sure that what's happening here. So next, start burp. I just want to make sure that what's happening here is just want to kind of have a visibility. Proxy, everything's turned on. So transfer to proxy and Push service, what's that? I'm not sure what's that. What's that? This is what we're interesting here. Upload is basically an upload PHP file. Nothing here is kind of out of ordinary, so just forward it, and yep, file text has been uploaded. Let's go back to the uploads directory. It's not here. Oh, not this on uploads. So confirm. Let's just see if we can see it. So it's confirmed that we are able to access this. We are able to upload file here. So what we can do next is just upload a shell. So I'm just gonna copy my shell here, locate rev.php. So I've done it a lot. So I'm just gonna move it now here, and our IP address right now is .200. Making sure that we can still ping it. So sublime rev.php. I'm just gonna change the IP address here. So right now it's this one. So kind of using this one now, 9001. So make sure we have here our listener nc-lvnp 9001, and let's upload our shell here. So I'm just gonna load the page again, upload the PHP, and upload it. So there's nothing here that prevents us from uploading that file. So no file extension filter, file type filter. So we can just basically upload the shell here, and nothing is being blocked as of yet. But okay, as you notice, it's taking time to load. So let's just see if so so the web page is vulnerable to file upload, and the web page is not actually secure. It actually just accepts any kind of file, so we are able to upload a PHP file. However, the IPS saw that transaction because right now we are running inside an HTTP protocol, so the traffic is not encrypted. So it's basically IPS has the visibility for this kind of attack. So however, we can just again change our IP address here. So we're not actually evading the firewall here, the IPS here, by having different IP addresses, by using tools such as Tor, proxy chains, and VPN. We can bypass this blacklisting. So just gonna edit this once again. So right now we are at 200. I'm gonna use 201 and bounce that port. Yep. So just to make sure that we have the shell here now, is sure that this is accessible now. Yep, it is. Let's see if that transaction really succeeded. And yes, we have a rev shell.php here. Before triggering it, making sure that we have our listener, and I'm just gonna stop this ping, close that tab, and trigger the shell. So what happened? So we're not getting it. Did we messed up something? Oh, so the problem here is that we uploaded the reverse shell with this IP address, and right now the shell that's inside the box is actually 200, but our IP is 201. So now I'm just gonna ping again, making sure that we still have access here, because okay, so again we're gonna edit this like looking into the future. Let's say this is gonna be 210 because we want this to be our IP for the future. Now this is something that we cannot do if we're dealing in a public IP address, because we cannot decide our IP if we're using a Tor or a proxy chains or a VPN. I think VPN will do, because sometimes you will be given a certain IP address from the public, if you try to connect for a different country. So I think so this is still like relatable to a real world scenario, I guess. So what we're gonna do here is just go back to the uploads.php. So we can now upload this. Did we save it? So I'm just gonna upload it. Rev.php. So I know we're gonna be black here now, but we can just change our IP here to 210. So what did I press? So edit connection. So I'm gonna edit this one. So I'm gonna change this to 210. Make sure that we have access here. Ping.ip again. So we have to bounce the port, and we have access now again. So this should work now. We should be able to access this. Uploads. So let's access it again, and we should have a shell. So who am I? We are www.data /la. So we are now inside the root directory here. So let's just get a stable shell -c pty.spawn /bin bash export term equals xterm fg scty. That's -la. Okay, so right now we are inside the box. So what we can do here is, okay, so I don't know what happened, but my terminal is not responding now. So ping, just want to make sure. So we get blocked again. So now again, there must be some kind of IPS that we have triggered when we issuing this kind of commands that end us up being blocked to the website again. So as a tester, so the next thing we can do actually here is to just interact on the web services, on the web server that is running, so that the transaction would look legitimate to the IPS. So because right now we are having a command execution going to the box, and so what are we gonna do again is just change this IP. So yep, this is kind of redundant here, but this is just demonstrating on how we'd be able to bypass this firewall and IPS. I actually done this before. To tell you the truth, this is not really easy. It really took me a long time, like a lot of scratches. Just as you can see, the web page is literally vulnerable to a file upload with RCE. Hey, why I cannot use my mouse? But adding a layer of protection actually changed the situation. So it's making us for hard right now. So let's just change it to 230 here and bounce the port. I'm gonna close this one. Okay, so my next idea here is to just upload a web shell here. I have here a very nice web shell here. Just move it here, not there, just here, and then let's just upload that web shell and interact with it from the browser. Uploads, upload.php. Okay, so yep, remember that when we upload a PHP file, you get blocked. So we are now losing a lot of public IP address here. So I always forgot it should be right click here, edit connection, and IPv4 settings. Let's just go 240 here. Again, bounce the port, and we should good to go here. Uploads and access our web shell, and this is pretty better. So ls-la. So let's just enumerate the box cat/etc password. So from here we have here user Bob, user. So I think Bob is interesting here. So let's just cd if we have access to his home directory. ls-la/home/Bob. Did we get blocked again? No, see, it's really hard to interact with some if there is a firewall here. But we're gonna keep trying harder here. I'm not sure what triggered it. I think it's the it's a command ls-la. But anyway, am I still redirected here? No, it's off. So again, we're gonna change our IP address. Now it's oh, edit connection. And then, but the good thing here is we don't really need to upload another shell, because we can just save here, bounce the port, and then access this shell again. I think I've already used that 200, did I? Bounce it. Yeah, I think so. It's not working here. So edit connection. So we're triggering a lot of noise here. I've literally turned everything on in the Suricata IPS aside from the ICMP rule. So because we don't wanna let's just say 223. That's 222. Now let's bounce the port. Yep. So let's go back here to our web shell. So now we need to be very careful here. So home/Bob. How about let's try dir. So we have here a note.txt. So cat note.txt. Hi Bob, I've been emailing you against our OVPN project. When are you going to start it? It's not secure managing this server on our public IP. So not sure what does it mean. I'm actually the one who rated it, just making like a cryptic clue that something is running behind the scene. So now we can actually just see what's actually running inside his subject. It could be probably listening inside. So we can see that SSH is only listening locally. So basically dropping everything to SSH in this box. So nobody can access this one. So right now, the open port here is this 330.3306, and also an interesting port here is the 1000. So let's just actually curl that to give us an idea what is it. Execute. Now it's running in SSL mode. So let's try. I think the flag is -k. What's happening here? Do you need to add HTTPS? Yep. So see, logged into webmin. So basically, there's a web service running here inside this box. So now now the next step is to make a port forwarding here. So basically we will make sure we will make that service running locally to pass this traffic to our Kali machine on port 22. So just making sure that port 22 is running on my box. That's 22. So yep, I've already turned it on. So this actually took me a lot of testing, but I ended up using this one-liner to make sure that this will work. So first of all, I downloaded this SSH pass to make sure that I will be able to pass a password. Yep, this is my root password here, and I'm just gonna change it after this video uploaded to make sure that this password is being passed to this SSH statement. This one is making sure to accept the signature, the signature of the host, and not having to say just say yes. So just don't check it, just and then no need to execute commands. So first I already first we need to upload the SSH pass binary. I already downloaded it, so just gonna copy it here, and then we have the SSH pass here. So the next thing to do is actually just upload it on, let's see. So we are running www data. Gonna upload this file ssh.pass, and let's use dir. I'm not gonna use so we have here that pass ssh pass. Next is to chmod it. So I think this one again trigger another alarm chmod. So yep, I guess it triggered another alarm, but we are getting something. So again, let's just change our IP address here. Edit connection. These actually just look easy because I'm just demonstrating it already, but trust me, this is not really that easy. Yeah, the web server is really vulnerable, but this blocking is really hindering us from routing the box. So now we have again access here, just shell. If we actually just dir this again, so we still have that there, just go tmp. So we still have that ssh pass. So we're hoping that we were able to execute that chmod command. I don't want to type again the ls here and la to make sure that this is executable, because I think it also triggered an alarm on the IPS that might block us again. So I'm just gonna run this one. So we are forwarding here the port 10,000 on local machine to our machine again in port 10,000. So I've already just make sure that everything right now it's nothing. So if we paste this one line, execute it, we are getting permission denied. So why is that? Now another problem to bypass here is the permission denied here. What could be the problem here? That's rude. Oh wait, hold on. I think this is not gonna be, this is my previous IP address. ifconfig. Now our IP is 223. So let's just paste it again. So we are getting permission denied. So I'm not sure what this is, because I think SSH pass is not allowing, I mean the box is not allowing it. Let's just try it again. message pass. Come on. Okay, now we have executed it, and then let's try it again. Permanently added, and let's see if we have successfully yep, we successfully forwarded the port here on our machine. So we can now access, hopefully we can now access it to in our machine. 0.1 port 10,000, and we have access to this webmin server that is running on the target machine. So right now we don't have any idea here, but we have a user which is Bob, and we can just try to brute force this. No, so normally you would run like basic admin here, password. Now the good thing here is this one. This service is already running in HTTPS, and the port forward again itself is running on an encrypted traffic. Now the IPS will have really no visibility for this traffic that is running on behind the scenes. So we can literally brute force this one, try to guess the password. But I know the password here, and I did it just a very easy password. It's Bob, and his password is just 123. So now we should be able to get inside the machine, and basically this webmin is running version 1881. So, and according to this one, the webmin version 1.7.9799 is now available, but you are running version 1.881, which is actually vulnerable to a lot of attack, a lot of remote code execution. So from here, I've already copied the exploit here. CP, just I already have the exploit for this one. I think I put it here. Yep, I'm just gonna copy this exploit.py here, and this is actually the entire command here, but our IP address would be different. This is actually now 233, just to make sure here. 8223, and port. So the password now is, yeah, I just changed the password there. I wanted it to make brute force possible, but I don't want to run a Hydra command. I'm lazy to do that. But yeah, eventually you'll find the we will find the password there. And make sure that we have our ncat listener here, lbnp 4444, and running the exploit, we have connect. So it turns out that the service webmin is being run by root. So we just literally get root access to that machine. So bash id didn't go that way. So exit python 3-c import pty.spawn /bin/bash, and export term equals xterm. What else? So right now we are root of this machine. So who am I? So if you see here, we have this IP address which is actually running inside of the firewall already. We successfully bypassed the firewall and the IPS and successfully rooted the machine. So again, this is literally, just looks like easy because I already prepared this one. I've try a lot of things, and also looking at the IPS rules. But so yeah. Anyway, the next video will actually be pivoting to this machine and trying to exploit the domain controller inside this subnet that is running here. So just to give you an idea of that, just gonna show you again. So right now, this machine is already compromised, and this is now our target. So we don't have the IP address here yet. I mean, yeah, we can see it here, but yeah, I'm assuming that we don't know yet. We would run like a script that would ping the entire subnet, try to see which host is app, and then from there trying to exploit everything. And we will also showcase in the next video how to set up a pivoting here using SSH and SH tunnel and proxy chains. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. And just an additional information, I forgot to actually record and show you the logs and also the blocks. So unfortunately, I was not able to capture the blocks here because I set it up 15 minutes and remove everything from the block. So I just remember it, and it's already more than 15 minutes. So the block of all the IP that we use is already gone here. So just to show you the settings here, it's actually here. It's 15 minutes, and you can actually just check for alerts that's still here, because I already turned off the machine and just boot it up again. And just too quick to show you this. These are some of the traffic that captured by Suricata. So as you can see here, this ID check returned, root description, also web shell generic elf file uploaded. So I guess this is the shell SSH pass that we uploaded. And also, yep, executable and linking format file download. I guess etc passwords by HTTP Linux style. So basically, Suricata is really strong IPS for my understanding here. It's just that the web server here is really vulnerable to different kinds of attacks. So, but as you can see, if someone is really managing this device, he can actually just, hey, you notice that, hey, someone is attacking our web server, and he can basically just of course you cannot manually block this IP one by one in case something happened, but you get ahead notice that something is really bad happening, and making sure that try to understand what's really going on and try to pinpoint what's the vulnerable thing that's happening on the website. Again, this is another thing. Some people think that if you place the firewall or an IPS on your security edge, that's it, but not actually. It's not the case. A firewall, also an IPS, needs to be managed from time to time. Someone should check the logs, or maybe you can set this Suricata to dump all these logs to a separate log reading tool. So there such as I think Security Onion is supported. It's also one of my list that I would try also in this lab. And what else? So yeah, so unfortunately I was not able to show this right after the video, just so I just recorded this part, and that's it. So again, thank you guys.